So people online, and as we heard, the Conservative Party there have been quick to connect the rising interest rate today with the government spending like CERB. So what are the experts saying?
That's right, Nicole. And while many, like the Conservative leader, blame the rise due to overspending, many professors we spoke to today say there might be other factors.
You could plausibly say that about 1 or so percentage points of the overall inflation increase might be due to government spending and fiscal policy.
Trevor Toome from the University of Calgary adds that a big contributor to inflation comes down to energy prices. Other factors include Russia's invasion of Ukraine, as well as supply chain issues. But when it comes to COVID benefits, Toome says they potentially had an impact on rising interest rates due to the increase in household income.
So if people's incomes were lower, then yes, demand would have been lower and price increases might have potentially have been lower. But people would have been worse off. The contribution of pandemic measures to inflation is not zero, but still probably just modest.
After the Auditor General's report revealed billions of dollars in suspicious CERB payments, people were left wondering if the government was too generous.
There's a debate that's ongoing now whether or not we provided too much in terms of fiscal supports given the depth of the economy and how fast the economy recovered. But again, we didn't have perfect foresight at that time. We ended up with a much smaller recession, a smaller increase in poverty rates, and a much faster recovery because of those supports. And the offshoot of that, of course, is that we're dealing with higher inflation today.
During question period today, the Minister of Employment, Workforce Development, and Disability Inclusion had this to say.
Mr. Speaker, the Auditor General also found that it got money to the people who needed it most, low-income workers, the most vulnerable populations, and we won't apologize for that.
The Parliamentary Secretary for the Minister of National Revenue tells us the government is working on recovering some lost funds.
Verification of eligibility did not happen as it normally would at the beginning. It happened after the fact. We are now in that after the fact situation, if I can put it that way. The CRA contacting individuals who it believes were not eligible for either the CERB or businesses not eligible for the wage subsidy.
Kevin Page from the University of Ottawa, who happens to be a former parliamentary budget officer, says it would be difficult to get all the money back.
I don't think we're going to get all the money back from that was spent. I think there's a limit in terms of the government's ability to kind of go back and retrace. So there probably will be a significant element of forgiveness.
But Canada wasn't the only country to roll out benefits during the pandemic. Inflation also isn't just a problem here, it's worldwide.
Canada's actually experiencing a little bit less than average pace of inflation.
You could see that the large increase in these transfers from governments more than offset the decline in income and for that particular period of time. So that created some of this demand pressure that we're experiencing.
And when it comes to the key rate, Toome speculates that there might just be one more modest interest hike in January, which might just be the last. Nicole?